The sparring footage between David Tua and Evander Holyfield is legendary. It was one of the first kind of behind the scenes footages that ever entered, was posted onto YouTube. I probably watched this for the first time 15 years ago and was blown away. Haven't watched it in a couple of years, and you guys get to come along for the ride while I watch it today and I talk about what my eyes can see with 15 years more experience than the last time I watched this. Let's go. Starting out, Holyfield and Tua are doing a wonderful job of getting their heads offline as they jab. Tua's doing exactly what Holyfield's paying him to do. He's getting past his jab, he's pressuring, he's getting under shots. He's employing the same tactics that you would see Tyson employ in his heyday. We see both of these guys currently circling to their left into that power side hand. And they're both taking very, very careful precautions to protect themselves as they move through, using their shoulders or using that rear hand to catch shots. Lots of wonderful framing from Holyfield here, where he frames off the shoulders, he frames off the neck and the head. Right here, he frames off of the elbow, and he uses that to circle around to the center of the ring. Obviously, these are big, powerful guys. But you can see, this seems like a technical spar. This seems like a friendly spar. They're obviously both in a growth mindset trying to help each other learn. You can see Holyfield may have studied some stuff from George Foreman. I'm not sure if Holyfield had fought Foreman at this point yet or not. I think he had. But you can see he covers both hands, he creates traffic, he uses that cross guard occasionally, and he's always turning and exiting. Especially when you're working with a little bull, a little powerful fighter like a Tyson or a Tua, you don't want to try to meet them force for force. They're smaller than you, they have the leverage advantage, they're going to stand you up. So instead of trying to fight power for power, turn them. If they push in, let that push be their undoing, spin them. Try not to match force with force. Good, great understanding of positioning, throwing those hooks and uppercuts in the middle distance. Great job from Holyfield. When he's on the outside, he's using that jab and sliding to his left. When he gets to the inside, he hides on his right side on David Tua's left side behind that lead shoulder. Good job hooking off the jab from Tua. Both of them doing a great job of recovering from blocked punches. And remember, you can recover from a punch in a lot of different ways. You can throw and frame. You can throw, recognize that your elbow side and exit. Both of them are throwing and then tying up that lead arm. Spectacular work. Great framing with that lead elbow from Tua. Stands Holyfield up tall so that he can land that 6 or that 3-3. Tua has one of the best 3s the game's ever seen. It's astonishingly quick for a big man and very, very powerful. Again, good traffic. And again, there's that frame. Whenever you're on the inside, you create space and then you use space on your terms. Tua's doing a wonderful, wonderful job with this. He's using his lead form and elbow to create space, and then he's sliding his 6 through there. And he's doing it the way Rocky Marciano used to do it, where he's using his head to hide that shot until the final moment. Good proactive defense. You can really see there, if I go back, when Holyfield hooks on the line, he's got to wind that shot up. Tua can see that coming, and he's able to snap that hand up in time to keep him safe. Lane theory dictates what you can throw quickly and powerfully. If you have to wind up that shot, it's not quickly, it has a tell, and it's going to allow your opponent, like Tua does here, to defend it more easily. He has more lead time. Holyfield experimenting with using his physicality here on the smaller man, trying to push him back. Good, you see traffic. We talk a lot when you're fighting on the inside. Control the arms, think about your head position. If you're learning something, watching along with this sparring footage with me, then please leave us a like, subscribe, share this so that we can grow our community and help the sweet science, the sport of boxing, to reach more folks like yourself. Goodness, that 3 is fast. Very impressed. And Tua looks great here. He never was as popular as Holyfield and Tyson, but you can see he's very classically trained. He is certainly more than just a puncher. He understands position, he understands posture. Wonderful first round in the books. Good, coming out for the second round. Holyfield immediately takes the initiative and starts jabbing, bouncing a little bit more than he was in the first round. But Tua keeps his composure, starts returning fire with that jab, and catches Holyfield in between his punches. When he's in the corner, he's got nowhere to go. Great proactive defense from Tua. He slips, he rolls. Again, accounting for that lane and level game to keep you safe. And he is just murdering Holyfield with that frame 6. That must be the 5th or 6th time that he's landed that shot. Little pressure fighters like Tua and like Tyson really depend on rhythm. So frequently you'll see them take a little bit of damage early. They're a little more hittable, but once they find out that rhythm and they start recognizing patterns, they do better. You can see in this second round already, Tua's getting more comfortable. He's finding Holyfield's offensive rhythm, and he's leveraging, he's anchoring his defense onto that so that he can get to him more easily. Spending a lot more time on the front foot walking in. Good, beautiful. Great traffic. And good use of the head there to create space. I tell people all the time that head is an excellent lever. Unless you're fighting somebody who's the mountain and they can squish your head, if you put your head down in somebody's chest or up against their shoulder, they can't close that space while your head's there. And if you can generate some power in the length of your head, then all of a sudden you've got room to punch and you've got room to fight. Almost like a Wing Chun technique Tua used there. When Holyfield put him in that collar tie, he shrugged that right shoulder forward, drove that elbow across his body to try to clear that overhook. Fascinating. It's not about the martial art or the style, it's about the principles being addressed. Nice, great 1-2 from Holyfield, just followed him down. James Toney says all the time, I'm not one of those fighters that gets stuck in the hole. And what he means by that is you get low, you get down, and you get trapped in front of somebody where you have to rise up and you got nowhere else to go. You hear me say this a lot. There are a couple things in boxing that are a finite resource. Depth is a finite resource. If you go down too far, you have to come back up, and people know that, and they'll lead you and they'll catch you with shots like Holyfield does with that 1-2 to Tua. 2 to Tua. Good. And there you go. You saw Holyfield defended that frame 6 from Tua there just by controlling his lead elbow and walking to his right side. Something out there, he does it again, and he uses it to exit that exchange so he's not stuck in front of this powerful little puncher. Something that I've been saying to my guys a lot lately is that boxing is not symmetrical. There is not an even balance moving to your left, moving to your right. There are a different set of tactics and risks associated with both of those movements. It is usually, especially if you haven't patterned somebody out yet, more advantageous to move to their closed side, to move away from their power side hand, to get past their lead foot and lead shoulder. And you can see simply with that change of position, Holyfield is now defending that frame 6. And Tua realizes this. There it is again. Beautiful work. And you can see him getting kind of frustrated. He's spamming that 6 now because he's trying to find a home for it, but Holyfield successfully defended it 5 times in a row now. And from that dominant position, Holyfield is able to attack Tua's center line. Beautiful second round. Coming out for the third round, both guys look very, very comfortable. Tua is comfortably standing in front of Holyfield. Holyfield is comfortably bouncing in front of Tua and letting his hands mill. Playing the jab game. Holyfield using that long beat. Excellent. He uses it twice there. Where in the previous round, Tua really successfully defended that 1-1. Now, Holyfield's going 1-1. He's letting Tua defend twice and then hitting him where he goes. Smart boxing. There it is again. Beautiful. Good. Tua punishes Holyfield for reaching, framing with that right hand. There are all sorts of coaches, when they talk about pairing or they talk about framing or traffic, where they have all sorts of arbitrary rules. Oh, your elbow should never be more than 90 degrees. Oh, your hand should never be more than 6 inches off your face. Again, we're talking principles here. Just know, the farther your hand is off of your face, the more vulnerable you are, the harder it is going to be to get it back to protect you if you need it. And if I throw this in reverse for a second, you can see Tua punishes Holyfield for doing exactly this. He's reaching with that rear hand, he's square. When he's reaching for that rear hand, it's not just that he's vulnerable over his left shoulder, like you would be if you're reaching with your lead hand. When you're reaching with your rear hand, you're vulnerable up your center line and over your right shoulder. Again, boxing is not symmetrical, so let's watch. Reaches, hits. Reaches, hits, reaches, hits. And let's see if Holyfield makes the adjustments to not get caught with that. There you go, that hand's a little tighter now. He's trying to feint. It almost looks like Holyfield's trying to bait out that attack so that he can counter. And this is why it's fun to watch the sparring footage. Great bouncy lateral movement from Holyfield. I've never been a bouncy guy, and I'm way smaller than these guys, so I'm always very impressed with that. You can definitely see how these rounds helped prepare Holyfield to deal with Tyson and his strengths that he would bring to the table. I know a lot of people lament not getting a Tua versus Tyson fight. I'm sure that would be nothing but action. Another mythical matchup. Good, you can see Tua using the threat of that hook to steer Holyfield into that power side hand. Holyfield should have been in the UFC, look at that. He just frames him right down to the ground. Which frankly, if I had somebody that big and powerful in front of me, I'd probably do that too. Good, great punch and recover. And good job, I'm gonna go back there. Great job from Tua. Holyfield catches his arm. Tua wings out that elbow to give Holyfield space when he pushes to create space, and he uses that first. An important understanding of the inside is that just because you're the one who created the space doesn't mean it belongs to you. It belongs to both people. If there's room to punch, there's room for both of you. Your only advantage comes from having the initiative, from being the one who did it first and being ready to capitalize on it. Good proactive thinking from Tua there. Once again, as a smaller guy, I can understand exactly how Tua's thinking here. If we look at this moment, you can see Holyfield reaches both hands out. I remember Bob telling me this at the pros camp when the tall guys would frame on me at the end of their jab. They'd hold my head like a schoolyard bully picking on a kid. And he said, listen, you know, whether you can see or not, that they're at the end of that arm. That arm tells you exactly where they are. And it also tells you where they're open. So you see right here, Holyfield is framing with that right hand. If he's framing with that right hand, then guess what? He's at the end of that arm. Tua knows it, and he throws that shot. Beautiful. Left hook, lands it very, very cleanly. Tua lost base there and got pulled out of position. Good. Holyfield's doing a lot of this pushing again. Holyfield, and maybe this is his psychology, but he seems like a guy where when something doesn't work for him, he keeps doing it. He wants to prove that he can make that work for him, make that tactic work for him. He gets in there and he makes little adjustments. He tries to punish or disincentivize a guy for doing something. But almost every time Holyfield's been hit here, he's put himself in that situation again. And again, that just could be an artifact of this being training, where he has that growth mindset to understand that if he's getting hit with something, boxing is a perfect closed system. If you got hit, it's because you made a mistake. Extreme accountability there. If he gets hit with something, he has that accountability. He has that growth mindset. He wants to give his sparring partner a chance to do that again so he can make adjustments and address it. This is why it's so fun to watch sparring instead of just fighting. Wonderful inside work here. Even if you just studied this sparring footage, you could learn so much that would help you be a successful fighter. Ha! I forgot about the finish there. Let's see that again. Beautiful. The bell must have rang as Holyfield throws that shot, and Tua rubbernecks. Not only does he rubberneck, he rubber bodies and spins around like a ballerina on that back foot to finish the spar. I love tape study. I love watching fights, and don't get me wrong, you can learn a lot from fights, but I really prefer watching sparring footage. When you're watching sparring footage, you're usually seeing these athletes at their best. You see them comfortable, you see them in a gym setting, you see them playing their A game, but also trying new things as they're workshopping problems on their way to a fight. When you get to a fight, you get the finished package. Here we get to kind of peek behind the curtain and see all of the tactics, strategies, techniques that these folks and these fighters are ironing out so that they can have success in their upcoming fight. Let me know in the comment section if you've got a fight or if you've got sparring footage that you'd like me to break down, get my thoughts on, and let me know if you have any farther questions so that hopefully I can answer them, hopefully help you address your issues that you run into while you're sparring and fighting, and have more success when you fight.